Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Elias and welcome back to Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Expert Mode Skyblock. In the last episode, we were working on getting some Draconium and Mithril, but mostly Draconium, through this little setup right here, which basically makes lava, turns lava into netherrack using redstone, crushes the netherrack, sifts it, and then processes the outputs and tries to get as much as much draconium that it then sends to our system, where we have 5 draconium ore dust, which we then will go put into our QED, the quantum whatever. It doesn't really matter. It changes. So right now, quite expensive decoration. If we look a little bit later, quadratic equation device. So I'm currently making some transfer node energies because we're going to need those, and we kind of need a lot more draconium than we currently have. We'll have to expand that that stuff later, but Ardite gravel. Why am I getting these guys? Alright, so there might be a little bit of an issue. Let's see. So that is whitelisted to just that kind of stuff. So no idea. But we should be able to like do something like that. And this can always back up. It doesn't actually matter too much. So who knows? Anyways, the plan for today is we're going to work a little bit. I'm trying to get more power coming in. Our farms are actually doing pretty well. We just need a little bit more power in the actual like system over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another culinary generator, but we've got to get to that point because I'm starting to run low on power. It's not a huge deal, but we're getting close. So let's see, I need 6 of these guys, and we're just going to make some more power generators. So I have made 100 of the culinary generators, and we're going to turn 6 of these into those, and then we just need to get a hyper node, and that requires some bedrockium, which requires mox nuclear fuel. So looks like we've got to do a little bit of work with plutonium, but we have a good bit of it, so it doesn't really matter. And actually bedrockium is not too bad for us to get, so that's good to know. So we have the mox, and then we will smelt it. I guess we can use an alloy smelter. There we go, and there's some bedrockium. Oh, and our pendant is going to go crazy because it's going to try to take the slowness off, which doesn't really matter. So let's just come over here, and we'll say forget about this for right now. We'll throw that in there. We have 4 of these guys, and we'll make the hyper node. So once we have this, we'll be able to make another culinary generator, and eventually we'll make more of these. It is kind of expensive right now. It's going to use up a lot of gold and redstone, so I don't really want to, but if need be, we can. So let's just take all of this stuff out, all of the extras, put it down here, and we should be able to make the culinary generator just fine. And there is another 64. So this should fix our power problems. I can't imagine us needing too much more, but the only other thing is if this guy fills up, which doesn't look like he's going to. And now we are increasing the power, so we're fine. We have like 50 stacks of, yeah, almost 60 stacks of extreme chili, so that's going to back up soon. Everything will be fine. So what are we going to do today? Well, let's let's take a look at cores. I didn't, oh, because Biddy Core is a mod. So I guess we're gonna do Draconic Core. Can I do something like, no. Alright, well, let's just look at Draconic Cores. So Draconic Cores are pretty easy. Where is all of this stuff? So, the typical Draconic Core is pretty straightforward. It's gold, diamonds, and draconium. That is simple. Simple enough, anyways. But if we want to upgrade these, we're going to need to get Wyvern Cores. We're going to need quite a few Wyvern Cores, and those require Vibrant Alloys, which I believe we have on Autocraft. If not, we can. Yes, we have Vibrant Alloys, so that is easy enough. Gold, redstone, glowstone, ender pearl. That's all it is. So that's easy enough. Fluxed electrum, we will need to do something about that eventually. So we have most of the components to make that. It's just a matter of kind of finishing it up. So let's go ahead and do that. So Flux Electrum is the next thing we're going to automate, but we're also going to need Mana Steel, and we're going to need, let's see, let's just get rid of Draconic. Let's do Wyvern Core. So we're going to need Flux Electrum, Mana Steel, and Thaumium. And then if we look at Awaken Cores, I didn't know if it was Awakened Draconium or Awakened Core. This requires Bedrockium, Iridium, Terra Steel, and Void Metal. Now, Terra Steel is something we're not going to worry about for right now, and I don't know why I'm still getting Ardite Gravel. Why is that happening? Use metadata. It doesn't really matter. Like, cobalt gravel should come in here, but it's not. Nothing is being blacklisted. They're the same. They're the same. That's why I'm getting it. They're the same data. They have different damage values. So if you look at Ardite Dust, it is the same ID as the gravel and as the sand. They just have different damage values. So does the Signalium servo? Yeah, let's do this. So real quick fix. Let's get the dust that we're gonna want. And all we have to do is replace this guy and tell it whitelist these. Just use everything. It doesn't, I guess using metadata might be the thing. I don't remember what that is actually referred to as, but we should be able to process the sand and all that kind of stuff and not have a problem. So I will fix that eventually, but that servo should prevent any more sand or gravel. So there's the cobalt gravel and sand. Alright, so we'll fix that eventually. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. So for the Awakened Cores, we're going to need Bedrockium. Easy enough. Once we pump in, we'll probably want to eventually automate the reactors, well, these two reactors, which is completely and utterly doable. And just have a couple processors and all that kind of stuff. It's going to require making a bunch more machines and kind of setting things up. I don't really feel like doing that right now. We'll get there. And then automating all this stuff so I don't have to mess with it would be really nice, but it is completely and utterly feasible. So the bedrockium isn't an issue at this time. The iridium, once we have a good amount of iridium, it's just a compressor recipe. I believe we even have a compressor. Yeah, so that is super simple to set up. And Terra Steel we'll get to another time. And Void Metal is actually pretty straightforward and easy because it's just some alchemy with Thaumcraft. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start setting up Thaumium, Void Metal, and I think Mana Steel production. Automatic, so we can kind of tell the system to keep so much, or we're probably going to do a craft on demand. Now, in order to do that successfully, we're going to need to do some stuff. The Mana Steel is going to be a little bit tricky. We'll get to that. So let's go ahead, and it's still giving us the gravel. Why? Use metadata. Alright, well, whatever. It doesn't matter too much to me. The other thing I could do is blacklist everything, but I don't think that's going to matter. So let's just throw those in there and go from there. So, whatever. Anyways, so let's start working on Thaumcraft. So, what's the trick? Well, with Thaumium ingots, are pretty easy. They are literally just Mana Steel, actually, with a little bit of magic, and it's a pretty much just direct recipe. So I believe we might even have that auto craftable. In fact, we have all that auto craftable. What we don't have automatic is the actual Essentia. So that is the issue, and that is what we're going to start working on. So I have all of these guys down here basically to get resources. We're gonna kind of alter them a little bit. So what we're gonna do, gotta think about this one for a second. So that sends channels over there. This is automatic for that. So what we need to do, let's see, we're going to use the middle one. And actually, we can use all of these. Doesn't really matter. Or does it? I gotta think of how I want to do this. So, the key to all this is pretty simple. We need to automate some of these furnaces and alembics. Now, that's not too much of an issue. We just need to automate putting ingredients into them. And the way we're going to do that is, I guess we could use, okay, I've got an idea. It's going to be kind of messy, kind of sloppy, could be better, but we have 2 chests, and we're going to need some Essentia level emitters, which luckily we have. Now, maybe we're going to want more than 2 chests. Gotta think about that. We're also going to want an export bus. So let's go ahead and craft one of those up. Export bus. And what are we missing? Just the piston. Okay, well that's easy enough. So we'll craft a piston. And actually we're going to want one more of those, so what is it, formation core? Let's craft one of those. That'll take a moment. And then the piston. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it up so that, do we want the servos? We're going to get some servos, and we're going to set them so that they only react to when we want things. So if we take a look at Thaumium, for example, we need magic. And so let's grab a file, and here we're going to want to grab a little bit of magic. Now for the void metal requires metallum, and we have a bunch of that, so it should not be a problem. It also requires, let's just get void seeds, darkness, void, and alienus. So alienus, darkness, and vacuous. So we are going to need one more level emitter and one more servo. So can we get the export bus yet? We certainly can. And we're going to need a level emitter. And that requires some arcane crafting. We need a calculation processor, as well as a redstone torch. That one's easy enough. So, never made a scepter, did I? That might be something wise to make eventually. Do we have any other ones? No, not really. Okay. So once we have the calculation processor, we can kind of get that set up. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up, I guess they can be on this side just because it's going to be a little bit easier. Like I said, it's going to be messy, but that's what we need to do. So let's see, what do we want to, we're going to need some item ducts as well. And don't need any more of those. Can we get the level emitter yet? Really? That's certainly taking its time. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 2. We want to remove that connection, and then all these guys are going to get servos, and then we're going to want some glass cable. And do we have the processor? What is taking that thing so long? It must have just finished. It did. Okay. So there's the Essentia level emitters. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up some emitters. And this is going to be a little bit of a pain, unless we just click like so. And we're going to need plenty of cable. Now the level emitters do not require any 0 channels, which is kind of key to all this, because we're going to need 2 export buses, and these guys will have to be, we're gonna, let's see, let's get a smart cable so I can see channels and be a little bit intelligent about this. I'm usually pretty bad about applied logistics channels and all that kind of stuff, just because of, well, honestly, laziness. It's better to put smart channels in, or smart cables in, see how many channels you're using and all that kind of stuff. We just need 2 more channels, and this guy is full, so You know what? Rather than doing it this way, let's move this over a couple blocks. And there it is. We're gonna take this off the channel. That channel anyways. And put it on this one. So that will get like 3 more channels. 4. What's the 4th? Oh, there's a drive there. And then this guy can come over here and we can just connect all this stuff. Let's do this intelligently. And this should be fine. Can actually do that. That looks a little bit nicer. Okay, so we could move this over one and just put another cable anchor. In fact, if we have a cable anchor, we might just do that. Do I have a cable anchor? No, so we're not going to worry about that. But that should be fine on channels. It should be back to 8 because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're 7 and 8. So we have 3 of those. 4, 5, 6. I don't believe these things require device online, device online, device offline. So I guess they do. Well, that's a bummer. So let's just remove this connection. So this is going to be... I didn't think... Oh, it might not be. Where is... Alright, let's just connect this guy for right now. Just to see how many channels is there. Because should be 4. And then if we disconnect this line and connect these guys, should just be 5, or is it going to be 8? Are the level emitters do they actually use channels? They do. Oh, so that's a problem. So these guys basically need their own individual line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This isn't the best of ways to do this, but honestly, it is, strangely enough. So this guy is using 6 more than what we have there, so we'll just bring a line down like so. We have plenty of channels here. We have 17. We're using 17. Let's just actually make this a little bit cleaner looking. And we'll do that. Alright, so kind of ugly, but unfortunately necessary. So everything should be online, and that's what I want to see. So these guys are all set to high. We're going to filter them. We're going to have whitelist for all these things. The items, we'll figure that out soon enough. But how this is going to work, well, let's just set up one. And let's say over here we're going to do magic and, let's see, we shouldn't need much metal. Let's do vacuous and then the other ones, because we have a lot of alienness and all that. So we're going to say magic and 100. Now we want to emit when levels are below the limit. Wait, really? Do we have less than 100 magic? We do. So that is fine. But if we put on this guy, Vacuous, 100 emit when levels are below. Do we have more than 100 vacuous? We do. So that's kind of the whole point. And then we set up the items that we want with these filters to import. And if we whitelist items, we can... Oh, how are we going to do that? We need to kind of partition this. So we might actually want to use drawers. That might be better than chests. And we can lock it. We can set it the items that are needed and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at... We have one 8-stack. Why is it doing that? Ugh. I need to fix that. I'll figure out what's wrong with that and fix it. But let's get this taken care of. So we're gonna want some drawers. We want 1x2s. Jungle drawers doesn't really matter. And let's use oak. We just need some chests. And we'll make those. Okay, so this should work. We're going to want our key. Just so that we can lock everything up and not have to worry about it. And this should work. I think Applied Logistics has no problems like depositing items into these. But we'll find out. So let's put drawers, lock them. And actually that needs to be a 4. So that should not be an issue because I already have one. Now these hold less stacks of items, but that's kind of whatever because we're going to be auto-filling them. So just do that, lock it, and set these up. So metallum 100, emit when less, alienus 100, emit when less, and darkness, emit when less. So the only one we're running out of is magic. Now what we can do is let's do magic first, and I will kind of figure this out. I can do this off camera, to be honest, or we can do a little bit of it on camera. But magic, if we right click this, it will tell us everything that uses magic, and we can kind of decide from there what's something that will be easy enough to kind of duplicate, replicate, all that kind of stuff, and still get plenty of what we need. And honestly, I think what we'll do for this one is let's use order shards, because that's going to give us magic. It's going to give us order, or we use ender pearls. Now ender pearls are also useful for other things. So, but order shards, we can auto craft. They just take stone. They craft over on the side, and it's something we're not going to run out of anytime soon. So what we can do is put order shards there, whitelist order shards, and this should start cooking up an order shard. And then we're going to need some capacity upgrades. Capacity upgrades, capacity cards. Now these are not difficult to make. We just need the basic cards, which I think I have. Nope, I do not have on AutoCraft. So we're going to need a calculation processor again. Let's go ahead and make like 10 of those. We use them enough, and we'll have to make a capacity card for this, but that's again not too much of an issue. I can go ahead and do an order shard there. And let's see, what's the other thing with this is vacuous. So I think vacuous is going to be Let's see, void bowls. Bowls are probably going to be the easiest thing, so that's what we're going to use. And it's the thing that's going to have the least like issues. So that is already on autocraft, and that's the key. We want to use things that we're going to have on autocraft. The reason we could go with ender pearls on the alienus, and we are getting ender pearls. You know what? I think ender pearls are going to be better, and we're also going to use those for alienus. So we're going to want to undo that. Undo that. Probably should have done that first. And we're going to need a couple cards, actually. So we're going to lock this drawer. We're going to do ender pearl, and then metallum, alienus. This guy will be whitelisted to ender pearls. We have to also change this whitelist and make sure ender pearls can go in here as well. And then for vacuous, we're going to want to whitelist bowls and put bowls in here. And now here's the cool thing. It will only pull out what it needs to. And the servers will stay on whenever there's not enough Essentia in here for whatever we need. Now we're also going to need crafting cards. So we're going to need to make 2 of these. And 1, 2. So we're going to need 2 of these guys. And then the crafting cards, I believe, also require the basic stuff. Yes, we're going to need 2 of those. Just because we want to make sure that the system can make whatever we need. So capacity card expands it, and put ender pearls and bowls with a crafting card in case we need it. So that will start supplying our system with what we need, and it's actually already producing ender pearls. So this guy will have a crafting card, a capacity card, get an ender pearl. Let's just go ahead and put those in there, and eventually this will fill up. That's kind of the idea, and we'll kind of see that as we go. So metallum is one of the next things, and then darkness. I believe darkness is going to be difficult, but metallum, iron's going to be the easiest, so that's what we're going to use. We have a good bit of iron. Is it the most of the ingots we have? We have a lot of tin. But iron, we also have a ton of blocks. So we can just kind of do one of these. I don't foresee us needing all that much iron to begin with, so not too worried about that. But we can get this set up. So this is the metallum one. Whitelist iron. Import iron. And it needs a slot, so we put that there. And we can always put speed upgrades as well, but that's not as important. So there's that, and then the last one is Tenebra, aka darkness, and obsidian. Well, since we're already auto-crafting obsidian, I think that's fine. So we once again come down here. There's the darkness, Tenebra, obsidian, put it there, and just fill one of the slots. It doesn't matter. So in the time that took us to do that, we have stopped exporting ender pearls. And the reason is we have enough magic in the system to warrant that. So there we go. That is all completely auto-crafted. So hopefully 100 is enough that these two alchemical furnaces can kind of keep up. That's the idea anyways, and if we need to expand on that, we can. We'll put it somewhere else. We'll pull lines wherever we need to and whatnot, but that should be one of the last things we need to autocraft with Thaumcraft. So I think let's go ahead and end the episode off here, and I am going to see if I can't fix the problem with this guy. I don't know why it's doing it. Maybe ignore mod or ignore that. Use those two in whitelist. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. But let's take a look. Gravel. Yeah, there's a bunch of this stuff. And sand. But like no cobalt sand. That's weird. So we'll just do this and hope for the best. Yeah, we should see some of the sands just kind of stay in there while we're processing things. That's a good sign. So maybe I fixed it. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it and see if there's any other issues or what. Get the Draconium in there immediately. Because the dust can go through, but nothing else. And yeah, hopefully that is all we needed to do. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode off here. So next time we are going to set up some auto crafting for, we might try to do auto crafting for Terra Steel as well as Mana Steel. We're probably going to want another mana pool, not an issue. And yeah, that should not be too much of a problem. Now, Terra Steel is a bit of a pain to do. I will be honest, I've done it before. We might end up moving this guy, I don't know. We're probably going to want a little bit better auto crafting for mana production. And definitely going to want to use more sparks and kind of get those kind of situated. But I'll have to think about that. I'll have to think about what I want to do. We're probably going to move it underneath here and move it closer to like the Pure Daisy automation and go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, we're going to automate both Mana Steel and hopefully Terra Steel next time. And everything else we can kind of do later as we get more Draconium. So at that point, we might start looking at... I really need to 10-10-10 these seeds and start getting brown mushrooms. And start looking at getting... getting closer to the stuff we need. So plenty of stuff here left to do. To get the creative energy cell, pellets of RTG fuel, easy. In fact, we should be able to do that relatively soon, if not already. But the enhanced Galgadorian blocks are going to be a pain. And then the other thing is all these Draconic Flex capacitors. We're going to need a lot of Awakened Draconium, and I need to figure out a good way to deal with that. Because normally I would just make a dragon dimlet and go kill dragons and a dragon dimension, but I can't do that. The dimension builder is disabled, so we can't do that. That's not fun. So we'll have to figure something out. I don't know what yet, but we'll figure something out, I'm sure. And yeah, then the only other thing in this, because everything else with this is pretty simple. Gonna need a lot of Draconium. That's pretty much it. And redstone. It's really not that bad. It's just gonna require a lot of Draconium. But we're also gonna need a lot of nether stars. So we're gonna need to start automating that relatively soon as well, which is not that difficult, believe it or not. But once we have the mob grinder, that'll be even easier. So we're pretty close with the mob grinder. In fact, all we need to do is just get a good bit of draconium, and we can make this. So we'll be able to automate the withers, getting nether stars from the wither relatively soon. So the plan next time is going to be Botania automation, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!